Well, we talk about the India-Japan ties. Now, India and Japan are set to announce a declaration on economic security, AI, practical cooperation in energy, critical minerals and mobility. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi is on a three-day visit to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended a warm welcome to his Japanese counterpart upon her arrival on Wednesday. And in a social media post, Prime Minister Modi said India is delighted to host Takaichi and he is looking forward to wide-ranging discussions that will further deepen the India-Japan special, strategic and global partnership. Prime Minister Modi also emphasized the broader significance of the partnership, adding that India and Japan will continue working together to advance peace, stability and prosperity across the Indo-Pacific and beyond. Prime Minister Takaichi will receive a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, followed by meeting and discussions with Prime Minister Modi at Hyderabad House. And during her stay, she will participate in the 16th India-Japan Annual Summit. At the summit, the two leaders are expected to review the full spectrum of bilateral ties and exchange views on key regional as well as global developments. Now, shortly after landing in New Delhi, Takaichi outlined the key priorities for her discussions with the Indian leadership. In a post on X, she said the talks would focus on urgent issues, including economic security and energy security, while aiming to deepen the strategic partnership between the two countries in light of the evolving global situation. She also highlighted the importance of promoting mutually complementary cooperation and further strengthening the Japan-India special strategic global partnership. We are now being joined by Benoit Hardy-Chartrand from Tokyo. He's a senior lecturer at Temple University and adjunct professor at United Nations University in Tokyo. Welcome to the broadcast, Professor. Prime Minister Takaichi has not come alone to India. She's brought the entire corporate Japan with her. Who's really calling the shots in this summit, the diplomats or the deal makers?
Yeah, it's indeed a very important delegation for Prime Minister Takaichi, and I think it's an illustration of how important India is perceived by the Japanese Prime Minister. In fact, the relations between Japan and India have been one of the top priorities for Japan for quite a few years now, I would say for at least 10, 20 years. So this is not entirely a surprise. But indeed, in terms of this particular delegation, it's not only the Prime Minister, but we're talking about around 150 business representatives. So I think it illustrates the fact that the economic security issue is important for Prime Minister Takaichi, the priority, in fact. But in terms of who's calling the shot, of course, the business community finds this relationship extremely important. It is a priority for itself. But when it comes to political dealings, when it comes to deals that will advance semiconductor cooperation, for example, this will be, of course, under the prerogative and the decision-making powers of the Prime Minister and her team.
Of course, Professor. Now, if we look into the wider picture, Japan has relaxed its defense export rules, yet India-Japan defense manufacturing, it still lacks a breakthrough project. What do you think is still holding both sides back?
Indeed, this is a great point because Japan has been for many years playing a greater role in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond as well. This started around 12, 15 years ago under the previous Prime Minister Abe Shinzo, who himself had very good relations with India. Now, just a few months ago, it was announced, indeed, as you pointed out, that Japan will, or has rather, lifted all restrictions on exports of military equipment. There still remains a couple of limits, but overall, Japan now basically does not face restrictions when it comes to these exports. Now, of course, when you think about the Japan weapons industry, we're talking here about 70, 80 years approximately of being only focused on the domestic market. So Japanese weapons manufacturers, including Mitsubishi, for example, have not yet the industrial capacity to produce at an industrial global level. So it takes a while indeed for Japan to be able to become a major player in weapons export. But given its intention to do so, as well as India's desire to also increase its military capabilities, I have no doubt that over the next few years, we're going to see even closer defense cooperation between Japan and India, and including as well potentially purchases of Japanese military equipment.
Of course, Professor, we look forward to an optimistic India-Japan ties. And we also know that the US-2 aircraft deal has spent nearly a decade in abeyance. But let's just hope that it still is a live deal, and we look forward to more. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights.
Thank you very much.